What's up, Lions fans? Welcome to the Lions Main Podcast. Today we preview our Week 3 matchup with the Arizona Cardinals. And then, as always, we're finishing up with our player prop bets for the week. Once again, you guys can find us on Twitter at Lions Main Pod and Instagram at Lions Main Podcast. Tune in and give us a follow.
This is the Lions Main Podcast.
I don't think you meant to make that movement, but that was wild, Jim. That was wild.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Everything's intentional.
Everything's
intentional.
You look like you're rizzing.
It's Aquarius season.
It is.
Is
Aquarius? No, I'm an Aquarius, so it's not Aquarius season. All right, what's up, Lions Main Podcast and Detroit Lions fans? So our first topic today that we're going to get into, we're going to break down and look at the Lions offense versus the Cardinals defense this season. We got not a lot of film, but we've seen some pretty interesting over the last two games from the Cardinals. And, of course, our Lions, we've seen a win and a loss. So let's get right into it. George, Jim, what do you guys have for that matchup?
Yeah, so, look, I think we've all been a little bit disappointed in the Lions offense to start the year. I think it's no surprise that, it is a surprise, rather, that last year one of the most explosive offenses in the league, both from a points and yardage perspective, has not held that up this year. Yeah. On the yardage standpoint, they're actually there. It just looks like it's a less fluid offense. They're not, there's a lot of side to side. It's a lot of scratch it out, grind it out drives versus some of those fluid drives you saw.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We've got a couple. You really look at the Cardinals defense. Week one, they let up a lot of points to the Bills, 34. Bills, not a ton of yards. So the Bills did a great job capitalizing when they had opportunities. But, all in all, I'd say that was okay at best performance for them. But last week against the Rams, against the stunted Rams team, they really put the hammer down on those guys. The Rams offensive line was banged up. Cooper Kupp left the game early. Stafford did not look he didn't have that fire in his belly. I think he had the first week against Detroit. Not saying he played poorly, but, just wasn't their week. So I think what we've seen from the Cardinals defense is they're capable of playing well, but I don't think they are. I'll put it this way. I don't think they're to the level of the Bucs defense. I definitely think they are a capable defense, though. So, I'll let George get into his matchups. I have two for you real quick. One that I really am curious about, what we saw kind of get wrecked against the Bucs, was that interior of the offensive line, which then, resulted in Jared Goff having poor play.
Yeah.
There's a potential for Graham Glasgow, who didn't have a great game, but let's be real, he's objectively better than any of the backups. I support all the Lions players, but no matter who you chuck out there as a backup guard, he's going to be better than. There's a chance he doesn't play. He did not practice today. Luckily, the Cardinals' D tackles are, anybody in the NFL is not horrible. They're not like these world beaters. You're not dealing with an Aaron Donald level. You're not dealing with a Chris Jones level D tackle. This should be a game where, or even Vita Vea like last week, this is a game where we should be able to control the line of scrimmage, particularly in the middle. And I think you see Ben Johnson go back to running the football there, especially if Glasgow plays. And even if he doesn't play, I think we still have a strong enough line to get some damage there against their interior D tackles. The other one I want to point out is you saw Goff have more success over the middle last week. And, the Cardinals secondary, again, solid, not a bad unit, not an amazing unit, but where I think they have some strong players at the linebacker position, and obviously at safety with Budda Baker. So, Goff is going to have to make good decisions in the middle of the field this week. That's where his bread and butter is, but he's going to have to be careful there, and he's going to have to target guys like Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta, intelligently and not force the ball in there. So that's mine too to watch.
Okay, those are some good matchups. George, how about you?
I kind of agree with Jim. It is interesting to see how our offensive line will do. I hope we run the ball. That's what we were begging for last game. We'll see if they do it. I'm excited to see that. Yeah. Especially if Graham Glasgow is hurt. I know linemen do prefer to run the ball. So hopefully they end up doing that. So I agree with you, Jim. I'm expecting something big out of that. One of my, I guess, just fun matchups, because I think this defense as a whole coming into the season wasn't, people weren't expecting them to do that well, but they've obviously based on what Jim has said, they've held up well. So fun one to watch for. Sean Murphy-Bunting, shout out, CMU. He actually played there when Jordan and I worked there. Jordan worked with the corner specifically, so he knew him, which is actually pretty sweet. Cool. But yeah, he's won a Super Bowl already with the Bucks, and then he's played for the Titans, and now he's with Arizona. So I was actually hoping in the offseason we would take a look at him, and I was like, that Michigan connection, maybe he ends up coming and playing with us. But obviously everything played out the way it did, and he's with Arizona. So it'll be interesting to see how he matches up. We definitely can throw the ball. Goff he's made us nervous this season, but I don't know. He seems pretty level-headed, and the mistakes. I mean, the first pick he threw in the last game, we saw that there was pass interference.
That was ridiculous. Yeah.
So I forget the second one. Honestly, I'm just trying to erase that game from my memory. It's in the blinders, but yeah, that's something to look for. Sean Murphy bunted.
And let's not forget that the Lions have moved the ball well in 2 games. What they have not done is punch it in well. And so I think one thing we're going to need to see, which goes back to my original point about that upfront push with the interior O-line, is we're going to need to run the football a little bit, play a little man football in that that part of the field, that last 20 yards. While we're in the middle of the field, I love throwing on first down. I love being creative, but when you get down there, tote the rock a few times. Even if one drive you have to kick a field goal, if David Montgomery, if you have Ragnow and Glasgow and Zeitler leaning on you, and then Montgomery and Gibbs pounding you, no pause there, but pounding you up the middle, eventually those defenses are going to break, and that's how I think you put those points on the board. So Lions offense has not had the issue moving the ball; it's putting it in the end zone. So I think I think that moving the ball will continue well.
Okay, yeah, no, you guys brought up some good points. So I mean, maybe you guys will choose these for your player prop bets in the end, but do you guys think this is a big game out of both Montgomery and Gibbs?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's interesting if you look at the stat lines the past 2 games, it's kind of been, they both had Gibbs has had a decent stat line both games. Monty didn't get a lot done last game, but I think that's because he's, again, the running back you put in towards the end of the game, we need to wear him down. I do think that both of them will play a big role in this game, and I think, the whole NFL has done a great job trying to limit explosive plays, and so that forced a lot of stuff in the intermediate, which again I think is what Goff drives. So keeping them honest, keeping a good mix of pass and run, and letting those guys do work, churn up yards.
Yeah, and then you touched on it very, very briefly, George, but hasn't been a great start for Goff. He's have 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and a quarterback 69. Nice quarterback rating. You think this is a game where he can turn it around, or do you think we see a pretty average performance out of him?
I think he's going to turn it around. I mean, I'm very optimistic as always, but he seemed to, like last year, people started to think he got the yips, and then he managed to just, bring it back, and we started playing well in the playoffs. And I think he can do the same. Do people think he's got to get like even lower and throw more picks and do worse, and then all of a sudden he's going to turn it around? I don't know. I think he takes each week at a time, and he can separate it. We look at it as this stretch of games, but to these players, each week is each week, and I don't know. I don't think they look at it like that.
Yeah, I do just want to hold us a little bit more accountable as Lions fans, because if we're talking about every week, we can't be saying that everyone's going to have a big or good game. I mean, I hope so, but if Goff turns it around and has a good game, and both of our running backs have a good game, then we're basically saying, I think we're being a little bit biased in our takes here.
Well, I think that's a fair point, but I do think, look, we saw the offense last season. Most weeks, almost everybody in the offense got a passing grade, right? I think last year there was, of course, a couple games in the middle of the season where Goff looked like a numbskull. There was times early in the season where it seemed like Jahmyr Gibbs didn't know the right time to cut. J-Mo obviously struggled. But I think by and large, the offense in general last season was an engine. And I think eventually, think the belief is that turns around. Now we get to week 5, 6, 7, there's still struggles. That's when you start getting concerned. I do agree with your point, though. I think there's going to be a couple challenges, but I think it's going to be on the side of the ball you're covering, Kane.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good segue into the matchup of the Detroit Lions defense versus the Arizona Cardinals offense. We all know what we struggled with over the last few years, and that's mobile quarterbacks. So looking at the first 2 games from the Cardinals perspective, they went out there and for whatever reason, coaching or bad scheming in the second half of that game, They got dismantled by the Bills in a comeback victory. And then seeing them in a very similar opponent to what we had, the Rams, we can see, I guess, how they performed against a very young Rams defense. One of the things that does scare me is the emergence of soon-to-be Hall of Famer Marvin Harrison Jr. And his connection with Kyler Murray. And I think George called me out quite a few times, but I'm like a nervous Lions fan, or maybe a little more pessimistic in my views. I have a little hope seeing how we locked up Mike Evans, not Chris Godwin, but Mike Evans last week. Gives me a little bit of hope from the defensive standpoint. But what I will say, the ability and what we did see, especially on that third touchdown he threw to one of their no-name tight ends or receivers, Kyler Murray last week, when he scrambled around, looking like Chucky with a knife in his hand, running from defenders, and then throwing a beautiful baseball throw from outfield. I know he played baseball, but that scares me. But I think this is, like you two guys credit out from the offense side of the ball. This is a big week for us to step up. I mean, coming in, I think we're 3.5-point favorites, and coming into the season, we were all thinking like, oh, we're going to literally stomp Arizona's lights out. I think this is a big week for Hutch. This is going to be one of his biggest challenges. He has this problem where when he does get in the backfield, he does this thing what we call Waluigi arms and legs, where he wraps a quarterback up as strong and as big as he is, and then somehow the quarterback breaks out and scrambles for another 25 yards. So I think this is going to be one of the biggest tests for him this week. But I think it's a good opportunity for our defense to show how good it is all around. For our DBs, James Conner has looked pretty impressive to start the season. Statistically, he has 172 yards in the season, so he's averaging 86 a game. Got a few touchdowns as well. Can catch the ball to the backfield, so see another big performance out of Anzalone if he does play, and some of the other linebackers. So, yeah.
The only thing I'll add real quick, I think you covered that really well. I do think that James Conner has had a pretty good start to the season. I don't know that continues, and I don't know. While your point about Kyler being able to scramble and throw those kind of off schedule throws is my biggest concern. Yeah. I think Marvin Harrison's a great player, Marvin Harrison Jr., but he only really did have 4 catches last week, which you could say the same thing about J-Mo the past 2 weeks, only had 5 and 5. But I think my biggest concern is some of the intermediate stuff, the Trey McBride and the off-schedule stuff. But I agree, Kyler Murray's going to be he's a whole different ballgame. Yeah, if Baker's taking our guys out, Kyler's going to literally twist them inside out, and it's going to be gross.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Hutch can continue his historic pace for sacks and get a few in this game. Definitely help our offense out.
You're a bit worried over there.
Yep.
I think you have some PTSD from Marvin Harrison over there as a Michigan fan.
No, I got PTSD from watching running quarterbacks dismantle us over the last few years. I got Justin Fields PTSD.
That's fair. And Kyler Murray's smaller. That's like why I worry about the Waluigi arms. You're doing like this. Yeah. Kyler Murray has that little body. He does the toad, runs right by you.
Yeah, so, I was going to say he literally looks like Toad out there.
Right. In the way he...
I like him because, first of all, it's a damn shame that we're not playing him after Double XP weekend. I think everyone makes that joke, but it is a damn shame. There's literally 25th. A statistical trend. Yeah, wish we could reschedule the game. But people were saying like, Bryce Young could work in the NFL because Kyler Murray. But the difference is Kyler Murray, as short as he is, he's kind of a little thicky. He's a little young thicky down there. And on top of that, the dude, he knows how to escape. Unlike even Lamar, I've seen Lamar sometimes get decleated, even though he's most of the time good at juking. Kyler Murray, I feel like when he gets tackled, he's like a slow, little steady tackle to the ground. He never gets literally, as Big AJ would say, he doesn't get the boom very often.
He's a little stubby. He's too stubby, bro.
He's doing his legs are literally moving like this fast.
So my key matchups for the Lions defense versus the Arizona Cardinals offense that I'm looking at, biggest one is want to see some of the rookie matchups. So Marvin Harrison versus Terrion Arnold. like you said in our text, Jim, Terry Arnold, even his big PI that he had at the beginning of last week's game was a little ticky tacky. And I think as the weeks go on and progress, he'll figure that stuff out. Hasn't had a horrible start to the season besides those pass interference calls, but I'm very interested to see Terry Arnold versus Marvin Harrison. I think that's one to watch. The next is Hutch and the D line versus Kyler Murray. I mean, we talked about it in that defensive matchup, but the ability for us to contain him and actually get him to the ground, don't let him extend plays, because no matter who's playing DB out there, if you're having to cover a receiver for 10 seconds, someone's going to be open or he's going to be scampering down the sideline. So that's my second matchup. And then finally, I got a little surprise here. I think you guys might like this one. I keep bringing him up. Inevitably, I think he'll break our heart at some point just because I'm pessimistic, as we discussed. But Jake Bates versus who? Who do you guys think?
Master Prater.
Master Prater. So Master Bates versus Master Prater. I'm interested to see how this shakes up. I think this game is going to – I think I predict a pretty high score every week, and I'm thinking this one is going to have touchdowns and field goals, and it might come down to seeing which one of those performs a little bit better. So I'm interested in seeing that matchup. And I think Master Bates, new and improved, younger version, is going to do better.
Yep. I like that pick.
Didn't even think about that one. That's a good one, huh?
That is a good one.
It's a great one.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like the Bader versus the Prater.
Bader versus the Prater, baby. That's awesome. So this is the perfect time to get into our player prop bets. I know this is everyone's most exciting segment of our previews. For those of you that don't know, last week I took JMO over 45.5. His first catch was literally a 50-yard pass. So I obviously got that in the first quarter. George took Goff over 267.5, which he nailed. Congratulations, George. Welcome to the winning column.
Glad to be here.
Right. We accept you with open arms. Jim and I are both 2-0, and so Jim had Rachaad White under 40. He spoke about how our run defense has actually been pretty good and displayed themselves in week 1, and they showed that again in week 2, holding Rachaad White. I think he was actually injured for like half the game because I have him in fantasy, and he fucked me over. But we held him to under 40 yards. Jim and I are 2-0. We're the winners moving forward. And then Drew is absolutely abysmal. He couldn't join us again. He's still sick with something, so we wish him well. He chose Laporta over 53.5. And the funniest thing is when he said this pick, he literally said, "I can't believe this one is still left on the board." Like he was some genius or something. He has a way of doing that, but once again he failed. So Drew is 0-2, and it looks like he's going to be eating what do we say, like 100 dumplings or something?
50. I think it was 50 dumplings.
We might actually the parlay might actually hit this week since Drew's not picking, right? Drew didn't submit a pick.
He has.
Yeah,
to,
Drew didn't submit a. Yeah.
Well, thank God. Then you guys should. This is the week to bet.
I think we actually might.
We should just make one for him. Agree on one.
I don't want to win for him.
Under one person shitting their pants on the field.
If he's not involved, then. But like, how do we do the punishment at the end? Is this a loss?
Well, it's percentage. How about that? Based on percentage.
Yeah, we'll go based on percentage, I guess. But because if I'm picking, then I'm most likely going to pick a winner. So I don't want to give him like my second choice.
Yeah, actually, why don't next week he has to do 2, one for the Lions game, one for a random game.
Or he has to pick 2 from the Lions game.
That's fine with me.
Yep, next week he'll pick 2 from the Lions game.
And if he gets both wrong, he has to drink a glass of piss. No, that's not real, but just...
Hey, get well, Drew. All right, so for this week, Jim, you're up first. Did you go ahead and look at your options?
Yeah, I didn't want to be repetitive with last week, but I keep coming back to the Lions' run defense has been outstanding to start the year. Not against the quarterback per se, but the running game, the traditional running game, teams just like put up stinkers against the Lions on a regular basis. And I was looking at, the Demo over, but looking at the Cardinals' run defense has actually been okay. And who knows what the usage is going to be between the two. I think over 50 for Demont is a good bet, but I'm going to go with under 70 yards rushing for James Conner.
Under 70? Is that where the line's at right now? Or you just pull it out of your ass?
No, it's like the best I can find is 70 for James Conner is plus 140. Let me pull this up.
Let's see. So we're using
70 is plus 155. 60 is minus 110. So
see here.
it's an alternate line, but I'm going under 70.
Alternate lines? How about I just give you the actual line?
What is it?
It's under 59.5. Or over 59.5. You can't do the alternates. You got to do the 50-50s.
Fuck it. Under 59.5.
Yeah, you can't do the given spot. He was trying to do one of the.
You got to always push the envelope, see what you can get out of people. But okay,
fair enough.
Fine.
So you're doing
59.5 under.
So James Conner under 59.5.
Running yard, rushing.
I think you're right. I think our defense has it in them. We got that dog in us, and maybe the Cardinals have a decent passing day, but I don't see them gaining much yardage on the ground on us. So that's a good one.
That's a good bet, Joe.
All right. Yeah. All right, George, you're on a hot streak. You're 1-1.
Right.
Let's continue the streak, man. What do you got?
So what's David Montgomery's line?
For rushing or for receiving?
Rushing.
All right. David Montgomery is over under 50.5.
Let's go over.
Okay. I like that. I mean, what you guys discussed, you think it's a big running day. I think this is a kick in the mouth to Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, and I think the emphasis is going to be on, hey, like as Jim would say, we're going to pound the Cardinals with both Gibbs and Montgomery. We're going to take turns doing it too. So we're going to go over.
Don't you want to at least one time in this game get up off your couch and go because of a big run where Montgomery just goes?
Yeah, no, I didn't have that this week. And speaking of the first week, second play of the game, like Anzalone pile driving Kyron Williams in the ground, I got up and screamed, and my girlfriend, she screamed in fear because of how excited I was. So, yeah. No, I want one of those moments. I want it so, like, at the end of the game, me and my girlfriend had an argument.
He won the angry run of the week first week, David? So
yes. Oh, yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. All right, so it's up to the big dog, right? Let me see. I had it up. So you guys don't hate me for this, but I'm going to ride with Marvin Harrison Jr. over 57.5.
Yeah, okay.
I actually so
insane the amount of Marvin Harrison glazing, Jim, he's done as a Michigan fan.
No, I will say you're doing dude, he's doing the pole vault on it. He's doing gymnastics. He's doing the
I don't even like accusing of the glazing, but this is crazy. You have been all over him.
Literally doing whole magic trick.
When there's greatness, you witness greatness. I'm sorry, he's a great player. I see a good matchup for him against the Lions.
Like I've said before, if he's anything like his dad, he's gonna be a real killer out there, and I'm excited for him. I do like that line. I originally was tempted to actually go the under, but then I thought about it for the wide receiver one option. For a guy who is able to get big plays, I think all he needs is one big play and two other kind of intermediate catches. So I like the bet. Unfortunately, I like the bet.
Sometimes it's telling.
George said, take it out of your mouth.
Okay, I will. But sometimes it's telling at the player press conferences, the things that they're saying in there. And so they asked him how he felt about Kyler Murray's performance the last game. And he said Kyler had 4 incompletions, and all 4 were times that he threw him the ball. And he didn't like that. So they got a plan. And if I'm their coach, I'm saying, throw it to that motherfucker. What the hell?
Yeah.
Don't be thinking about fuck McBride or whatever his name is. Throw it to him. So
or Greg Dortch. They love throwing it to goddamn Greg Dortch.
They do like Dortch for some reason. I should have looked at his line because he's always got a sneaky big gainer on him.
I think And that's a risky bet. That's a risky bet. This is a parlay we're doing too. Sheesh. Kyler's gonna be running around. He's gonna be doing the. I don't know how much he's gonna be throwing.
No, he runs and then he's a throw first quarterback though. Like he runs it around. He's always looking to toss it.
Sure. But I'm expecting a big game out of our D line. We're gonna make that motherfucker run.
So I should
have chose Kyler Murray over 34.5. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that honestly, I think that's a absolute.
With Anzalone out, what do we think? You think that's gonna? I don't like that. I don't like the mobile quarterback.
You look scared now. You look scared.
Well, the mobile quarterback bullshit, and if Anzalone's out, that's annoying. I hate that.
It's annoying. It's absolutely some of the most annoying shit to watch.
I hope Kelvin Shepard got in Malcolm's face today. All right, like made him feel like a fool for that. He's like, you better be just hawk Kyler the whole time. If he's doing that,
yeah.
No, they should definitely have a spy the whole game, I think.
Right.
But here's a good line for you guys. Not one I think we'd include in our bet, but there's a longest reception by player you can pick.
Yeah.
J-Mo's is set at over 22.5. I would hammer that. He's literally had 2 games in a row with an over 22.5. That's like his literal bread and butter. So
interesting that you bring that up because before we got on, I was talking to George. I looked at that prop bet. They have Amon-Ra's and Jameson's set with the same. I think they're both like minus 115, and they're both 22.5. Yeah, and I'm going. That's ridiculous. Like the odds that Amon-Ra catches the ball 40 yards, 30 yards on field is a lot less.
It's not his game.
It's not his game. No, yeah. So. No, those some good bets. I think that honestly, a parlay with us 3 and without Drew could be highly, highly successful. So I like our chances. This isn't a get shit on Drew show, so get well. But I like our chances. So let's finish up the week on a good note. What are you guys doing this weekend? You guys got anything fun planned?
I'm going to Boston. Going to watch the Michigan State Boston College game with a friend of the program, Scott.
Yeah.
Gonna be fun. We're gonna go to a Red Sox game on Friday. The Tigers. I mean, obviously it's Lions season, but Tigers are on a tear.
Yeah. What is it? They're in a 20-8 run.
Yeah. Literally, I think they're 24-8 or something over a certain range, and right now they're beating the Royals. So. They're 1.5 games out. Anyways, the Twins, who they're right behind, are playing the Red Sox when I'm there on Friday. So I'm going to be – I really do not like Boston sports fans, but go Red Sox on Friday.
Go Red Sox. Hell yeah. This might be another situation where we get fucked by another team, just like the Red Wings on the last game of the regular season. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
What time is the game Sunday? Detroit. The Lions game.
4:25.
Yeah, 4:25 p.m.
Will you be back, Jim?
No. Nope.
Tragic.
Watching in Nueva York.
World traveler over here.
Yeah, bro. He just wouldn't get it.
He wouldn't get it, man. Yeah, just kind of similar to you, but I'm traveling to the Michigan versus USC game. My sister is a senior at Michigan right now. And so throwing a little tailgate, going to the game. I think that one thing from the game, I know the listeners might not care very much, but Michigan just declared a new starting quarterback, the guy who I thought would be starting going into the season. And so I'm hopeful that we can turn around our season before the big games start.
Orgy?
So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, yep. Alex Groupsax is playing, right?
Orgy in the end zone, baby.
Yeah.
Be hearing that a lot.
He's an exciting player.
Well, George, what are you doing?
Huh?
Well, actually, I don't really care that much. Kane, who do you think is going to be? You think Miller Moss or Alex Groupsax is going to be better this weekend?
I can't even make an assessment on it. Seriously, I don't even know what to expect from Alex Groupsax. So,
yeah. Now I do care, George.
About what?
Your weekend. What's your weekend plans, big guy?
Oh, I got Arvin's engagement party this weekend.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
hey, don't be acting a fool, man. I don't want to come pick you up.
Yeah, don't try to kiss his fiance.
I would do that. That's what good friends do, man.
Come on, Jim.
Oh, sorry.
What the fuck?
I didn't say you would. I don't say you would, or that's something you would normally do. I'm just saying don't get into your head. Don't do that.
You talking about him participating in group sex again?
He's like the Michigan quarterback, bro. Out of control.
Damn. Well, thank you, Lions main podcast listeners, for joining us for this Week 3 preview with the Arizona Cardinals. As always, have a good weekend.
Go Lions.
And,
Buddy's Pizza,
stay
please.
safe.
Buddy's Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
And then, yes, Buddy's Pizza. Give us a sponsor, or American Lafayette Coney Dog.
Or X-Hamster.
Or who?
X-Hamster, whatever that thing is. Hamster
Or
too.
X-Hamster. Jim's,
but please, buddies.
That's crazy, George. All right, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Bye.